Hi, I'm Leezá. I'm an international transformation specialist, and today I want to talk about something that we often misunderstand or confuse, and that is the power of pausing. So, if you live anywhere in the industrialized world, unless you're living out in nature, you're living in a world that glorifies constant motion, fast, 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 and endless achievement. Get it done, do it right, hurry up. And stopping can not only feel like failure, you can get pressure from everywhere to go faster. And what if I told you that real growth and real excellence actually often begins in stillness and not in speed, but in that quiet space? So, have you ever felt like you're running faster and faster? Like you're doing everything and you're getting nowhere? Like all these things are happening, but you don't seem to be moving. Or if you've ever been so busy that you forgot actually why you're doing this, that's a trap, right? We are hooked and hoodwinked into believing that we have to do more and go faster because there's the golden ring at the end. Somehow that's going to fulfill us, and it doesn't. The truth is, sometimes the most courageous and productive things that you can do is to not push harder, but to take a pause, to step back and just breathe and listen for a moment. So today I'm going to share why that pause isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And I want to share with you, I saw a poster once, it's applicable, and it said, don't just do something, sit there. So that's what we're talking about. There's power in that. All right. So if you can imagine when you are moving at full tilt, that you lose perspective. And I'll give you an example. Imagine that if you've ever been on a merry-go-round, right? It's going around, you're on a little horse going up and down, and the faster that thing goes around, even if you're not on a horse, you can't see the bushes, the trees, the people around you. It's a blur because it's going so fast. That's literally what happens with your perspective and your ability to be clear. So when you pause and that merry-go-round stops, you can suddenly look around and say, oh, here I am, there's that, and there's this, and I feel this, and I hear you now. So pausing allows you to step off that fast spin and ask yourself, where am I? Like, where am I really right now? And where do I want to go? So you can set goals more clearly because you know where you're starting from. And most importantly, am I moving toward what's meaningful for me? Like, are my actions aligned with my value system? Or am I just moving because I'm used to moving or because I'm afraid to stop? So if you've ever spent time in nature, and you can try it out if you haven't, but if you have, you know this experience. Nature's quiet. It's calm. Even if there's a storm coming, when that passes, there's a peace and an ease, right? And then when you come back from nature, you come back to your life, you have more clarity, and your ability to be aware and perceive is heightened because you've had that pause. Your senses have been calmed, your awareness has been calmed, your mind can come to rest. So that pause, that stillness isn't empty. It's actually where you're able to meet yourself, where you're able to meet your own truth. And in that quiet space, that's the genesis of creativity. Just imagine when somebody begins to write and they pause, just even for a second with their pen over the paper, or if an artist is going to paint and they dip the brush into the paint and then they pause for a minute before they put it on the canvas, or a pianist that before they begin to play, their fingers hover over the keys of the piano. That pause, that pause is powerful. And when you make it intentional, it's just amazing what happens in your life. So when you pause, you're taking ownership, not just of your choices, but actually of your energy and of your walk, how you're walking through your life, what your purpose is. I remember a long time ago, I was complaining to a friend that I was so busy and my children were younger, and that's a busy time anyway if you have children. But kids were going and I was working and there were meals that needed to be made and we had to go shopping and there were all these things happening. And I remember I was complaining that I was so busy, I had no time. And this friend looked at me and he said, you know what? We alone decide how we spend our time. We all have the same amount of time, but you get to decide how you spend it. I was like, wow. That's really true. So it's a matter of prioritizing. And it's easy to blame the world for how busy we are because the world's going fast. That's absolutely true, right? Just look out the door, turn on computer, social media. It's fast, 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 fast. But we don't need to blame anyone for that. We can take responsibility for ourselves and take ownership because the real transformation comes when we begin to say, I choose to pause. Not because I'm weak and not because I'm quitting or I can't keep up. It's because I'm brave enough to listen to what's happening beneath all that noise. I choose. That's a very powerful statement. I've actually also trained myself, try this on. I've trained myself to say things like, I chose to distract myself instead of I was distracted by an external, right? I distracted myself because I took my attention away from you or for whatever, and I put it somewhere else. I made that choice. Nobody put my attention there. I did. So that understanding of I choose to pause, I choose to go fast is powerful. It's really powerful. So you can stop making excuses for what is creating this sense of incongruency with what you value, and you can take that ownership and bring that congruency back. Take a pause, take the time, and do what feels aligned with who you are. So many of us are conditioned to believe that solutions to whatever issue it is are somewhere out there, right? Buy the book, read the article, listen to the podcast, go to another meeting, get another opinion. It's something that we've just learned. It's like an automatic, oh, sure, if you have an issue, go look, right? Go somewhere and do it. And the self-help industry is actually one of the largest in the world. It's the largest sector of books on Amazon. And people are looking for ways, literally, to come back home to themselves. That's why that self-help industry is there. Because we're so pulled into our externals, people are trying to find ways to come back home because we've been taught to look outside of ourselves for the answers. And so those answers are not found by doing more. They're actually revealed in that space that we can create when we do less. So stepping back and allowing ourselves time, what often happens is that resolution arises naturally. If there's a problem, if there's something we're unsure about, it's an interesting experience when you sit with it. It like there's an opening, and not always. And I'm not saying don't garner information or good advice or do your research. Absolutely do that, but also give yourself the gift of pausing and creating space so that the answers that you're looking for can find voice within yourself. And when we stop forcing and start allowing, in that space, what's true for us, what's aligned, what's next, what feels right, it becomes visible. It comes through for us. Try it. It's really amazing, and it's not something that we're used to, so it could feel a little uncomfortable at the beginning. But try it out. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you a little bit of practice here in a minute. But I want to share that when you take that pause and you listen to yourself, you listen to that voice within, that the life force that offers you guidance, that gives input or helps you understand things, you can hear it better, right? It usually doesn't scream. That kind of wisdom comes in the quiet. And excellence is not about how much you do. It's about the quality with which you do it. If you think about some of the greatest artworks in the world, there's not 25 of them, there's one, right? There's one Mona Lisa, or there's one Beethoven fourth, right? That quality comes when we give it time and we let it germinate, and it comes from that place. So you can work 16-hour days chasing tasks that aren't aligned with your soul, and many of us do that, and there's no blame in that, right? The leaders that I work with often come to burnout because they're doing and doing and doing more, and there's no space for them to simply be. And then they get burned out because they have nothing left to give, right? They haven't regenerated in that pause. So when you pause and you reconnect, and when you can take action from that deep place of knowing who you are and what feels right and aligned with your values, you can accomplish more in a day than most people do in a week. And statistics bear that out. When we are at peace and feel happy within ourselves is when we are the most productive. And we can access that peace and contentment when we give ourselves the gift of pausing and stillness. It's literally an opportunity to recharge our batteries. And so, true excellence is not frantic, it's focused. I like alliterations, right? Not frantic, focused. And it flows from presence. Our excellence flows from who we are. And the presence is born in the pause and it lives there. So here's my invitation to you today. All right. Choose to pause intentionally, like set an intention to pause. And you can start with 10 minutes and build up to an hour or an afternoon or a day if you like. But start with 10. Set a timer, literally. And during that time, do nothing. Do no thing. No reacting, no rushing, no fixing anything, no answering the phone, no texting. Just be. And make it pleasurable. Sit in the sunshine. Put on some music. Lay in the grass and watch the clouds. Literally do nothing. You remember doing that as a kid? Just being? We've forgotten that. And then just notice how you feel. Notice what thoughts come, if there's any wisdom. When you're not racing, what's present for you? How are you feeling? Because you don't have to earn clarity. You just have to make space for it. So if this message gave you permission to breathe or to trust yourself a little more deeply, I invite you to go ahead and like the video and subscribe for more. And also share this with someone who you think might need to hear that pausing is not weakness, it's powerful. And if you're ready to dive deeper into living with clarity and ownership and resolution and excellence, check out the resources and the programs linked below. You don't deserve a life that moves at the speed of fear. You deserve a life that moves at the pace of your soul. Thank you. Be well.